After 5 years of waiting and praying to God, she finally got pregnant. But one thing made her lose her faith in God. What could that be? Let's find out together. Hello, guys. Today we bring you another fascinating movie to your screen. This one is definitely going to blow your mind, and I'm pretty sure you'll love it. But before we dive in, why don't you grab a snack and subscribe to this channel for more amazing movies from us? The story kicks off with a beautiful young lady named Emily as she sat in front of the mirror. She had been hoping for a child for over 5 years of marriage. Eventually, she lost hope. But what she didn't know was that, even in her darkest moments, God is always there. On this day, she was in the restroom, testing herself to see if she was pregnant. Suddenly, her husband walked in, a handsome, wealthy man named Joseph, who deeply believed in God and loved him. The two of them had placed their trust in God and prayed endlessly for a miracle. Later that day, they visited their family friends, who welcomed them warmly. As they sat down to chat, the two women later pulled aside. Emily revealed the pregnancy test to her friend, but she hadn't told her husband yet, as she didn't want to raise false hopes. Back at home, Emily was searching through the wardrobe when Joseph walked in, asking if she had spoken with the pastor. She replied yes. Then he noticed she was stained and brought it to her attention. She felt bad. She wasn't expecting it. Joseph comforted her and encouraged her that they would try again next month. The next morning, Emily was on the phone with her friend, informing her that she wasn't pregnant. Later that morning, Joseph came out for breakfast. He was in a hurry for work and only ate a few spoonfuls before getting up. But then he noticed his wife's mood. He asked what was wrong, and she pretended to be having cramps. Joseph was a bit worried, but had to leave for work after a short chat. But wait, was it really just cramps? Or was her body trying to tell her something else? That night, Emily was in the room when Joseph came out from the restroom with the pregnancy strip. It was positive. He asked her to go test again to be sure. At first, she was nonchalant, but she eventually did the test. It came out positive again. This meant she was finally pregnant. Both of them were overwhelmed with joy and thanked God emotionally. 2 days later, they visited their family friends to share the good news. Everyone was happy and praised God. Back at home, they also shared the news with her aunt. Afterwards, they embraced each other. The next morning, Joseph served Emily breakfast in bed. She felt concerned because she was supposed to be the one doing it. Joseph told her they'd be getting a maid, even though she had told him not to. Joseph insisted. Before leaving, he gave her a peck. That evening, he returned from work with a young lady. He introduced her as the new maid. Emily was surprised. She didn't think he was serious. Joseph then showed the maid to her room. That night, Joseph gave Emily a leg massage in their room. Afterwards, they were seen praying together. 2 months later, Emily went to the bathroom to shower, but felt pain in her breast. She checked and realized it felt unusual. 2 days later, they went to see a doctor. After running some tests, the doctor confirmed it was a lump, but encouraged them not to worry. She would be fine. Emily was heartbroken. Back at home, she was devastated. Joseph comforted her, assuring her that God will definitely take control. A day later, Emily and Joseph returned to the hospital to run another test. Before going in, they prayed. A nurse came and called her in. 2 days later, the doctor confirmed the test results. She had breast cancer. Emily couldn't believe it. She was crushed. Joseph tried calming her down. Back at home, Emily locked herself in the bathroom. She refused to come out, despite Joseph's constant knocking and pleading. Moments later, she finally came out, soaked with water. Joseph consoled her. A few minutes later, she lay on the bed in a different outfit. Joseph brought her food, but she refused to eat. He went downstairs and called a friend to inform them of what had happened. Not long after, the friends arrived and went straight to her room. They found her just sitting and staring. They encouraged her and prayed with her. The next day, they all went to the hospital for the operation. Joseph encouraged her before the nurses took her in. An hour later, when the nurse came out, worried but still praying to God, immediately asked her about his wife. The nurse then told him that the operation was a success. Afterwards, he went to the ward to check on her. There, he read Bible scriptures and prayed for her. The next day, they returned home. The following morning, Joseph got ready for work. He called out the maid's name, gave her instructions on what to do, and then left. Later that day, Emily was in her room, staring at the changes in her body. She began blaming God for the pain she was going through. Blessing the maid stood by. Scared, she quickly reached out to Joseph. By the time he got home, he found Emily lying on the floor, hopeless. Joseph was overwhelmed with pain as he lay close beside her. The next day, Emily woke up from sleep. She started throwing out the scripture decorations in the room and told the maid to throw away the Bible. The maid was shocked, but still, who was she to refuse? She feared she could be fired. Emily was completely devastated. She now believed that God wasn't for her and blamed him for giving her cancer. Not long after, Joseph returned home to see the chaos. He tried to console her, reassuring her that God would come through for them and that she would be fine. But Emily kept insisting that God didn't care about her. That night, Emily sat in front of the mirror, combing her hair as it fell out. Joseph silently came over and embraced her. But how long can a man carry his wife's pain without breaking himself? 2 months later, at night, Joseph was seen praying. Emily, now visibly pregnant, looked at him with disgust and walked out. While Joseph was still praying, he reached out to touch her and realized she wasn't in the room. He stood up and went searching for her. The following morning, Emily's friend came to see her. But things didn't go well. Emily said some hurtful words that made her friend leave in tears. That same day, Joseph was seen chatting with his aunt about Emily's recent attitude toward everyone. She encouraged him not to give up and to keep praying for her. 2 days later, their pastor came to visit and pray for Emily. But everything went wrong. Emily refused to listen and insulted him. Joseph tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen to him either. Thankfully, Pastor Ken is a patient and understanding man of God. Back in the bedroom, Joseph was deeply hurt by the way Emily had spoken to Pastor Ken. Later, Joseph went to see a friend. He was in so much pain but could no longer express it. He cried silently until he fell asleep on the couch. A week later, Emily returned to the hospital with Joseph. While waiting, she sat beside another lady. Emily noticed the woman also had cancer, judging from how the nurse addressed her. After the nurse left, Emily asked, "How do you still have such a sense of humor in your condition?" The lady smiled and replied, "Faith and hope. God is with me, even in the storm." She then shared her story. Her husband had left her because he couldn't bear the pain with her. That broke her, but still, she rose again and thanked God. Emily listened to her story with tears in her eyes. She had believed God was against her, not knowing that someone else's pain was even greater. Just then, the nurse came to call the lady for her chemotherapy. As she was about to leave, Emily admired her knitted bracelet. The lady took it off and gave it to Emily before walking into the treatment room. While Emily and Joseph were walking down the hall, they suddenly heard that the woman she had just spoken to had passed out. Emily nearly collapsed from the shock. Back at home, Emily sat in silence, staring at the bracelet. Joseph came in and tried to comfort her. Suddenly, she hugged him tightly and apologized. Afterwards, he handed her the Bible. Emily held it close and asked God for mercy. The following day, they both went to visit their family friends. Both couples were excited to see Emily back on her feet again. Afterwards, they all praised and thanked God. Later that night, Emily was seen writing all the scriptures back on sheets of paper. After that, they both prayed. The next day, Joseph and Emily were spending quality time together. They were playfully guessing the gender of their unborn child. After that, they continued having fun until suddenly, Emily collapsed. Joseph quickly took her to the room. She apologized for ruining the fun, but Joseph told her not to worry about it. 1 month later, Emily collapsed again, falling flat on the floor. Joseph rushed her to the hospital. He was extremely worried, so constantly asking the nurses about Emily, but got no response. Finally, the doctor came out and asked him to come with her. Inside the doctor's office, she explained that Emily's condition was critical and she would need urgent surgery in order to give birth. She handed Joseph a file to sign so they could proceed with the operation. Guys, to be honest, I could feel Joseph's pain. But, well, a man's gotta be a man. He went back to his seat and continued praying to God. Soon after, Pastor Ken and his friends arrived. They encouraged him and all began praying for Emily. This is really touching. No matter the trials and storms, they never gave up on God. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this movie? 1 year later, we see a baby girl playing with Joseph. But where could Emily be? Come with me. Let's find out. Emily is at the hospital, stepping out to meet everyone who was so happy to see her alive and well. She went around embracing everyone and also apologized to the pastor. Afterwards, they all praised and rejoiced even more, because indeed, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Back at home, Emily was seated, writing her life story. Joseph came to sit beside her. They chatted and together named the book, which Joseph held in his hands. The moral lesson of this movie is, no matter how dark the night may seem, never give up on God. Trials will come, faith will be tested, but those who hold on to hope will surely testify. Pain may last for a moment, but purpose will always prevail. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do well to subscribe for more amazing movies from us. Till we meet again, bye!